हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यंकरवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। भवानी शङ्करो वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगताम् अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। शङ्करं परमानन्दं ब्रह्मनिष्ठं यतीश्वरं भाष्यभ्रान्तिहरं वन्दे शुद्धज्ञानैकबोधकम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। We shall begin with the Shanti mantra. ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः ष्टुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्षो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम्. We shall chant from the third mantra. Shaunako havai mahashalo angirasam vidivat upasannaha papracha kasminno bhagavo vidnyate sarvamidam vidnyatam bhavati iti tasmai sa hovacha dve vidye veditavve iti hasma yad brahma vido vadanti parachaiva paracha tatra para ऋग्वेदो यजुर्वेदः सामवेदो अथर्ववेदः शिक्षा कल्पो व्याकरणं निरुक्तं छन्दो ज्योतिषमिति अथ परा यया तदक्षरमधिगम्यते यत्तद् अदृश्यम् अग्राह्यम् अगोत्रम् अवर्णम् अचक्षुश्रोत्रं तद् अपाणिपादम् नित्यं विभुं सर्वगतं सुसूक्ष्मं तद् अव्ययं यद्भूतयोनिं परिपश्यन्ति धीराः यथोर्णनाभिसृजते गृह्णते च यथा पृथिव्याम् औषधयः सम्भवन्ति यथा सतः पुरुषात् केशलोमानि तथाक्षरात् सम्भवतीह विश्वम् तपसा चीयते ब्रह्म ततोन्नम् अभिजायते अन्नात् प्राणः मनः सत्यं लोकाः कर्मसु चामृतम्. हरि ओम्. So a student, Shaunakah, approaches a teacher, Angirasa, and he asks this question, कि कस्मिन्नो भगवो विज्ञाते सर्वमिदं विज्ञातं भवति. That what is that knowing which everything becomes known. So the whole everything, whatever is there as this world is pervaded by something which is common. And once we know that common, we know everything. That which pervades everything is the very swarupa of everything. So the disciple wants to know the swarupa of this world, the swarupa of our own self. So the teacher first replies that there are two types of knowledge, the lower knowledge and the higher knowledge. And the lower knowledge is all that is there in the Vedas. See, other than the Vedas, all that we consider as knowledge is really ignorance only. The Vedas reveal all knowledge. But all that is there in the Vedas, including the Upanishads, are all lower knowledge. And what is conveyed in the Upanishads, when we gain direct realization of that tattva, that direct realization is higher knowledge. And what is that tattva? What is that knowing which everything becomes known? That was indicated in the sixth mantra as that which cannot be seen, cannot be grasped, which doesn't have any cause, which cannot be described, which doesn't have eyes and ears, which doesn't have hands and legs, which is eternal, which itself has become everything, which is the very source of everything that we see. So how that Akshar Brahma is the source of everything, that is explained with the help of three examples. Just as the spider weaves the web, as the herbs and plants grow from the earth, as the hairs grow on a living person, in the same way this whole world has grown or come out of that Brahma. Tathaksharat sambhavati ha vishvam. So Brahma is at the same time both the upadan karan as well as the nimitta karan of this world. Means Brahma is the material, and Brahma alone is one who transforms this material into this beautiful world. And this whole thing happens in a particular sequence. So that sequence is being conveyed now in the 8th verse, 8th mantra. Ki tapasa chiyate brahma tato annam abhijayate. Annat pranaha manas satyam lokaha karmasu cha amrutam. That Brahma, Akshar Brahma, which is indicated in the previous mantra as Adrishyam, etc. That Brahma, as though that Sankalpa comes in that Brahma to create this world. So it as though swells, as though becomes gross. Just as when you put a seed in the water, in the soil, the seed first grows and then it sprouts. In the same way, this Brahma, first that Sankalpa comes, Brahma becomes as though aware of its own power to create. That power is called Anna here, which is the Avyakrita Prakriti or Maya, the undifferentiated power of that Brahma, which is called Maya or Prakriti. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan talks about this Prakriti as Para and Apara Prakriti. The Para Prakriti is Prana, and the Apara Prakriti are the eight forms. Avyakta, Mahatattva, Ahankar, and Panchatanmatras. So this Para and Apara Prakriti first remains together, undifferentiated in Brahma. So that undifferentiated power is what is called Avyakrita or Anna here, which is the very material as well as the intelligence behind this entire creation. So from that Avyakrita only then becomes Vyakrita. It gets separated and it expresses. So the pranas and the Ashtadha Prakriti express. So when they first express, the first being who is born is Hiranyagarbha. This Hiranyagarbha itself is called Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. So Hiranyagarbha is born. And Hiranyagarbha then further creates the whole world. So in the Puranas, this is depicted graphically, like from that Ishvara's Nabhi, a lotus, it blooms, and in that lotus is born that Brahma, who then creates this world. So is Hiranyagarbha is the first one, and Ishvara appoints Hiranyagarbha to create the world, to sustain the world, and to dissolve this world. So Hiranyagarbha has all the Shakti, the Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Cha Shakti, all powers. Hiranyagarbha has got these pranas, the total prana, that is the Kriya Shakti of Ishvara. Hiranyagarbha has got total mind, total intellect, and ahankar, and all knowledge is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman. So Hiranyagarbha is also indicated as Karya Brahma, or he is also known as Saguna Brahma or Saguna Ishvara. So Hiranyagarbha, he has got this total buddhi, total mind, and his body is as though the five tan matras, Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi. So with the help of his buddhi, he, first he meditates and remembers the entire creation as it was before. Before it went into laya, he remembers the previous creation. Every detail, every being, with all their desires, everything is brought into his mind. He recollects everything, that it was, this previous creation was like this, with millions of galaxies and moons and stars and planets and different types of beings, different lokas, with variety of beings in this lokas. So the whole thing is brought in his mind, and he first converts the Panchatan Matras into the five great elements. See, these five elements which go to make this world, Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, the same five elements have gone to make our body also. So this body, which is made up of these five elements, is made to function with the help of our mind only. Though the prana shakti is required to give the power for this body to function. For example, if I want to use my hand, the power which is supplied to use my hand is that prana. But then that intelligence which is there, the mind is there, intellect is there, which motivates this power and which further makes the hand function. So it is so amazing. Our mind is making this gross body function. Just as some object is there, let us say this pen is there, with the mind I cannot make the pen move. And our body is also made up of same material as the pen, the five elements. But with the mind I can make my body move. So mind has got the power over the five elements. So Hiranyagarbha, with his mind, with his intellect and that power, he converts these five basic elements, the five tanmatras, into five gross elements. So those five gross elements, when they are born, Then the gross world is born, and with that the body of Vaishvanara is born. So Vaishvanara takes birth. So here 5 elements are indicated with the term Satyam. So from the prana, means from Hiranyagarbha, his mind is activated, Manaha, and then his mind activates convert the Pancha Tanmatras into 5 gross elements, that is Satyam. And from these 5 gross elements, then further the different worlds are created. So there are many worlds, 7 higher worlds and 7 lower worlds are there. Total 14 worlds are there, Bhuvana they are called. So they are named as Bhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha, Maha, Jana, Tapa, Satyam. These are higher world. Then the lower world, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Talatala, Mahatala, Patala. These are the lower 7 worlds. So the higher world, lower world, and we are living here in between actually, on Bhuhu. The first of the 7 higher world. The lowest of the 7 higher world, that is Bhu. So we are on Bhu. Swarga and all are in that world, Swaha. So the 14 Bhuvanas are born, are created. And in these 14 Bhuvanas, then there are different types of beings are created. Means their bodies are made. So in the Swargalok, in the Patal Lok, or in the other lokas, there are different beings. The Devatas are there, and the Yaksha, Rakshasas are there, Gandharva Lokas are there. And on earth we have human beings, animal, bird, plants, trees, fish, bacteria, virus. So different types of beings are there. Their difference is in their bodies. So different types of bodies are created. That creation of the bodies itself is considered as creation of the beings. Otherwise the being, they are nothing but the Kshetrajna, and Kshetrajna is not created. Kshetrajna is not born, nor does it die. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. That Antaratma, Pratyek Atma, Kshetrajna is not created. He doesn't have a birth, he doesn't have a death. He is Sakshat Brahma. So what does it mean that jivas are created? Jivas are created means their bodies are created. So because of ignorance, the identification with these bodies happen and the different jivas are there. And then they have their own, they perform their karmas. So different types of jivas, according to their own samskars, they perform karma. So human beings also, depending on their varna, their ashrama, their gender, they perform their karma. They follow the path of dharma, or sometimes they follow the path of adharma also. So the karmas are also born in this world. And when the karmas are born, then the results of these karmas are also born. Means we get the results of karma. The results of karma are indicated here by the term Amrutam. Amrutam is immortal. Why the results of karma are called immortal? Shankaracharya ji writes, कि यावत् कर्माणि कल्पकोटि शतैरपि न विनश्यन्ति तावत् फलं न विनश्यति इति amrutam. That the karma which is performed, it never get destroyed even in thousands of crores of kalpa, even if the world gets created and dissolved for hundreds of crores of time, the karma which is performed is not destroyed. Therefore, the result which will come from this karma is also not destroyed. So if we have performed some karma and suddenly the whole world goes into pralay, that karma will not get destroyed. When again the world will get created, we will get the result. Or if we perform karma and we die, then that karma which we have performed is not destroyed. Wherever we are born again, it will start giving the results. Therefore, the karma as well as karma phala are also eternal. They are indestructible. They are not destroyed. So the world which we see is eternal. The jivas are infinite. The karmas are also infinite. Results are also infinite. So this is the vast Jagat in which we are born. And it is created, sustained and dissolved by that Hiranyagarbha, who is Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. As Brahma, he creates this world. As Vishnu, he sustains this world. And as Mahesh, he again dissolves this world. Then again he creates the world. Again he sustains. Again he dissolves. So this goes on and on and on. So, the sequence of this creation is indicated in this mantra. Now in the last mantra of this section, the Shruti concludes the topic of this first section. So he says, it's ninth mantra. Yas sarvajna sarvavita yasya jnanamayam tapaha tasmadetad brahma namarupam annancha jayate. Once more. Yas sarvajna sarvavita yasya jnanamayam tapaha tasmad etad brahma namarupam annam cha jayate. So the topic is concluded in this section. Ki yaha sarvajna sarvavita, this Brahma, who is sarvajna, who is all-knowing, and sarvavita, who knows everything. Yasya jnanamayam tapaha, his tapas is of the nature of knowledge. And from this Brahma, tasmad etad Brahma, from that Brahma only, that Supreme Akshar Brahma, who is Sarvajna and Sarvavita, Brahma, that is Hiranyagarbha, is born. Then all this world comes into existence with various jivas and various other objects and lokas, and they have their respective names. So names are also born of all the various parts of this world and various beings. And the different forms are also born, rupam. And annam here is then different types of food food for all the different types of beings are also born. So in this way the whole creation comes into being. Here the term Sarvajna and Sarvavita has to be understood properly. Sarvajna means one who knows everything. Sarva means everything. Everything means everything. Nothing is excluded. So Sarvajna means knower of everything, one who knows everything. And Sarvavita also seems to be having similar meaning. Sarvavita also means one who knows everything. So why these two terms are used? What is the difference? So Shankaracharya ji in his commentary he writes, he says कि यह उक्त लक्षणो अक्षर आख्य सर्वज्ञ सामान्येन सर्वं जानाति इति सर्वज्ञः. Sarvajna means one who knows everything in general. Everything is known in general. And Sarvavita is one who knows everything in particular also. See, for example, there are these gold ornaments are there. Thousands of, let us say 1,000 different varieties of gold ornaments are there. So shop is there, and in that shop there are 1,000 varieties of gold ornaments. So one who knows that all of them are made up of gold, he has the knowledge of everything, but he has got a general knowledge of everything. He knows everything as gold. That is called Samanya Jnana. Knows everything in general, but may not know everything in particular. Means he may not know the names of each and every ornaments. He may not know the different shapes and the size and the color and the utility of all these ornaments. So that shopkeeper, he knows everything in particular also. He knows the name of each and every different type of ornament. He knows their weight, he knows their shape, he knows their utility. So he has knowledge of everything in particular. And he also has got the knowledge of everything in general. In the same way that Brahma, Ishvara, has knowledge of everything in general and has knowledge of everything in particular also. Everything in general in this whole cosmos is nothing but that Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma only, which pervades each and every object, each and every form. But it is expressing in variety of ways. There are infinite varieties in which that Brahma is expressing at this world. It is so amazing. Even if you try to study the world which is seen, it is endless. One can go on and on and on, and every time one will be seeing something new, something different, something most fascinating. And human beings with their new technologies and all, they are observing this world through various telescopes and all. They are observing this world. Recently, in that Hubble telescope, they could observe even galaxies merging with each other. 3 galaxies were merging with each other. So different types of stars are there, different types of planets are there, different types of phenomena happening in the whole cosmos. Then on Earth itself, there are different varieties of structures are there. There are so many varieties of elements are there. When we were studying in the school, college, we used to have, I think, 105 elements or something which we used to study. But then later on they discovered more and more new varieties of elements. And now the periodic table has also grown. And each of these elements, they behave differently. They have different number of electrons in them. They have different atomic weights, they have different chemical properties, they have different physical properties. Some of them are inert, some of them are quite active. So many varieties of materials are there. Then the different types of beings. So many different types of beings are there, it is quite amazing. There are many varieties of animals. And there are some animals which are found only in some continents, in some countries. Like we have in Australia, those kangaroos are there jumping around. You don't find them in other places easily. So elephants are there and tigers are there. The elephants in the African forest are different and the elephants found in Kerala are different. And in Kerala those people know how to tame the elephants. With a tiny little arrow they can tame a giant powerful elephant. So variety of beings are there. Even the finer at the microscopic level, there are so many varieties are there. Even nowadays with this pandemic, we have come to know that even this virus is there of so many varieties. And the same virus which was troubling us, it keeps changing its form also. It suddenly takes a new form. It comes in a new form. Delta, Omicron and all sorts of different names then we give them. So many different varieties of material, then objects and beings. And in those beings there are different varieties of samskars are there. Animal, birds, plant, they have their own samskar. Human beings, they have their own variety of samskars. So what is happening in my mind, you will not know. And what is happening in your mind, I don't know. And I'm lucky that I don't know. So many things are happening in our mind, in our intellect. But there is someone who knows. If a thought arises, I know. If feelings arises, I know. So who is that I who knows everything in this body? I know my body. I know my mind. I am the knower of my senses. I am the knower of my thoughts. So who is that I who knows all this? Because I know everything in particular. Everything is known in particular. Every thought, everything. So who is that I who knows everything in particular? That I is that Pratyekatma, that innermost self, which remains separated from this body. It is separate from the body, mind, senses, but it knows. It knows everything. So that Kshetrajna is the knower of everything in particular. And Ishvara is the knower of everything in general also. But the Kshetrajna is not different from Ishvara. So in Gita, Bhagavan says, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. That I myself am the Kshetrajna in all the bodies. So whoever, wherever anything is known by Ishvara only. Even if you are alone, and thinking about something, that what you are thinking is known to Ishvara. Even a tiny little ant is hungry and looking for food, is walking around, wondering where I can find food. The thoughts of that ant is also known to Ishvara. Ishvara knows everything. He knows everything in particular also. And he knows everything in general. Therefore, he is indicated here as Sarvajna and Sarvavita. So, Samanyena Sarvam Janati iti Sarvajnaha and Visheshena Sarvam Vetti iti Sarvavita. In general, he knows everything, and in particular also he knows everything. So when we come to recognize ourselves as Ishvara, when we come to recognize that I am that Brahma, I will also gain this Samanya Jnana. I will also be Sarvajna. So yaha Sarvajna Sarvavita yasya jnanamayam tapaha. And from that Ishvara alone, Brahmaji, that Hiranyagarbha is born. So Hiranyagarbha also is Sarvajna Sarvavita. And Hiranyagarbha, he brings to his mind the entire creation. Hiranyagarbha has got the pranas, mana, buddhi, ahankar, and the panchatan matras. And in him is the samskar of all the beings. And all these beings have this samskar because of their avidya. So, the avidya of all beings plus the Shakti of Ishvara, the Shakti, that is Maya, plus avidya, expresses as the ahankar of Hiranyagarbha. And with this ahankar, he creates this whole world. In Gita, Bhagavan calls, in Bhagavad Gita Bhashya, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji writes about this ahankar as avidya sanyuktam avyaktam. So Hiranyagarbha brings to his mind the entire creation and just creates it. So who is Hiranyagarbha? expression of Ishvara. Who is Ishvara? That Brahma only. And what are this mind, intellect and all? They are also expression of Brahma. And what is this whole creation? It is also expression of Brahma. Everything is that Brahma alone. See, for example, suppose I write something on this paper. I have written Hari. So, Hari. Let me write Om also. Hari Om. So, Hari Om is written on this. So, you can read Hari Om. So, this is the writing which you can read. Each and every letter you can read, and also the words you can read as Hari Om. But suppose we want to know the very essence of this. What is the essence? What is the material which go to make this? The material which go to make this Hari Om is the ink which is there in this pen. And that ink which is there in this pen is converted into these words by the intelligence which is there in me. So with the help of the intelligence and with the help of this material which is there in this pen, this word Hari Om, words are written Hari Om. So if you shift your attention from this Hari Om to this pen, in the pen we see that the potential to write is there and the ink is also there. Ink is there and the potential to write is there. So that ink is the material and that intelligence which is there is the nimitta. Then we have a bottle in which the ink is there. So if you just focus your attention on this bottle, ink is there, but we don't see any Hari Om in it. We don't see anything written in it. But it is the very source of everything. So this bottle, this ink which is there is like Brahma, is like Brahma or Ishvara. This ink is like Brahma, who is Ishvara, and from this only then the potential to write and the intelligence is born. So this pen is like, pen along with me is like Hiranyagarbha. And here what we write is like the world. So similarly, this whole world which we see, the whole world is in the mind of Hiranyagarbha. And Hiranyagarbha himself is supported by Ishvara. And Ishvara is nothing but that Brahma only. So the whole thing, we should understand it. First, we have to understand through this world, we have to understand that Brahma. Then we also should understand the seer of this world, that is I. I am looking at this world, I am knowing the world, I am experiencing this world. So who is this I? This I is the Jiva who is experiencing this world. So when we inquire into the Jiva, we come to understand that the Jiva is the Kshetrajna. And this world is called Kshetra. And the source of this world is that Brahma. And the Kshetrajna is also Brahma. So from this world, we can understand, we can appreciate the nature of that Brahma as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Because the world and Brahma are related as the effect and cause. There is a cause and effect relationship. Therefore, from the effect, we can understand the cause. There is a cause and effect relationship between the world and Brahma. Therefore, the example of the spider web and the plants and the earth and the hairs and living being is given here. Because there is cause and effect relationship. See, many people, they who talk about the world as mithya and as a snake, imagine on a rope. Actually, that is totally wrong, because that snake which is imagined on a rope is not outside, it is only in the mind. So the illusory snake has got no cause and effect relationship with the rope. An illusory snake is not connected in any way to the rope. But a pot is connected to the clay. Pot cannot be separated from the clay. But an illusory snake can be separated from the rope because it is not there. Therefore, the world is not like a snake on a rope. World is like a pot on clay. There is a cause and effect relationship. So, the world which we see is actually Brahma only, but the effect, we see the effect. And when we negate all the effect, what do we see the effect? We see asatyam, we see it is constantly changing. We see the effect as jada, means inert. And we see the effect as limited, parichinna. So asatyam, jadam and parichinnam is the nature of the effect of this world. So cause is that in which the nature of the effect is not there. So cause is there, that which in which asatyam is not there, so it is satyam. Jadam is not there, so it is jnanam. Parichinnam is not there, so it is Anantam. So that Brahma is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, which can be appreciated through the world with the help of this cause and effect relationship. Without that, Brahma cannot be understood, cannot be known. If there was no cause and effect relationship between this world and Brahma, then Brahma would have remained unknown forever. No one would have attained realization. But since Brahma and this world is related, we can understand that Brahma as Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Then we can also understand our own self as that Pratyek Atma Akshetrajna. And whatever lakshanas we have understood of Brahma is seen in the Kshetrajna also. Kshetrajna is also Satyam, Kshetrajna is also Jnanam, and Kshetrajna is also Anantam. Therefore, the Kshetrajna is Brahma. And this whole world is Brahma. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma and Aham Brahmasmi. Both these statements of the Shruti we can understand. Therefore, an enlightened person gains what is called Sarvatma Bhav. He comes to see this whole world as his own self. He looks at this whole world, he can see the mountains, the rivers, the trees, he can see all the beings, and he knows all of them are my own self. He can see the variety and he knows that all of these are my own self. That is called Sarvatma Bhav. So even after enlightenment, the world continues to be there. But an enlightened person comes to know it as Brahma, as his own self. If it was like a snake on a rope, it would have disappeared after realization. But it doesn't disappear. So this was indicated in this first section of this Mundaka Upanishad. So first chapter, first section we have seen. It concludes here with this 9th mantra. Now we will begin the second section of this first chapter from our next class. So next class we will have on Thursday. Tomorrow is Tuesday and tomorrow is Shivaratri, Mahashivaratri, a very auspicious day or auspicious night. And especially it is very special for all spiritual students. See, we have many festivals which we celebrate, and special days and special nights which we celebrate in our culture, in Sanatan Dharma. And they have their own speciality. Like the Holi will be coming and it has got its own speciality. But Shivaratri, Mahashivaratri is very special for spiritual students. It is actually what you call Lord Shiva is the Adi Guru of this Jnanam. He is Sakshat that Hiranyagarbha, who is the teacher of all the spiritual knowledge. We also say Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. so we can gain special blessings from Lord Shiva to pursue our spiritual path and attain our spiritual goal. So tomorrow we will celebrate Shivaratri, and we will have a short program online, same time. So 12 to 1, we will just do Shivalinga Puja and pray to Lord Shiva to bless us all. Okay? So tomorrow we won't have this Mundaka Upanishad class, but we will celebrate together Mahashivaratri in the afternoon, 12 to 1. And day after tomorrow we will have Sundarkand class, and on Thursday we will continue with this Mundaka Upanishad. So till then you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana, listen to the pravachan again, contemplate, meditate, think, understand, share, and we meet again tomorrow for Mahashivaratri. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Boliye Siyavar Ramachandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.